I don't know if I brought it up already, but Terriermon Assistant is coming to Digimon Story Time Stranger next week when the game releases on Switch and Switch 2, but the update is for everyone, which makes Terriermon Assistant the first Digimon in this game to have been in the base game but not recruitable, and now converted via a free update, a downloadable content if you will, into a Digimon that will be playable, will be recruitable. Which led me to think about other Digimon that are in Time Stranger in the background or through little secrets, which might make sense either for another update or for the next DLC for Time Stranger, the large-scale expansion-style DLC confirmed for 2027. And the base game of Digimon Story Time Stranger, plus some additional things, might give us a little idea of what those could be. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video, and yes, Terriermon Assistant might be our clue for more DLC Time Stranger Digimon. Now, to be clear, this is fully just a silly theory, a game theory, but if I can invoke time after time, it'd be worth it. So Terriermon Assistant is in the base game of Time Stranger. Right now, you can go and find him in Central Town in your little apartment. It says Kombajigu, and then, you know, it's there. But there are some other Digimon that are hiding secretively in Time Stranger, and the first one I want to talk about is KingWhamon. I kind of touched on this a little bit in my Pendulum C video, but obviously not clearly enough. In the background of the kind of underground or down below area of the Abyss area, it's been confirmed that a rock formation is KingWhamon. Now, if we look at this rock formation, it's clearly missing a lot of elements of KingWhamon and looks more like a rock in the shape of KingWhamon, but maybe it's a KingWhamon that just kind of stayed still for so long that it crusted over with rocks. But they actually brought this up and kind of revealed it in a Terriermon Assistant Lab episode. And more interestingly, while KingWhamon is a Cross Wars Digimon, it hasn't really had a ton of outings in the franchise until this year. It was the ruler of Island Zone in Cross Wars, and then not a ton, but now it's been showing up in Liberator and of course Time Stranger in the background and even Super Rumble, plus a couple of V-Pets in the card game, getting finally, after debuting in 2010, a reference book entry on March 13th of this year. But while this sudden love for KingWhamon, I think honestly they probably were trying to get it in base Time Stranger. This is just a theory, like I say. Its visuals make sense for the world of Iliad, the aquatic Digimon with the mountains, flora and fauna. It's like the land meeting the sea, which as I talked about in my Pendulum C video would make a lot of sense for the Whamon we meet in Time Stranger to have evolved into KingWhamon and then become a vehicle Digimon for us, taking us from the Abyss area to the Gear Forest or something like that. A thing we see with a lot of Digimon in this game, I mean notably we see Blimpmon become Master Blimpmon. I think Whamon to KingWhamon, King, Master, similar ideas, you know. But now of course we have the Pendulum Colors 8 and 9 for Iliad, which as I talked about in my video the other day has some notable Digimon that are not available in Time Stranger at all, like Lamiamon, Kotalmon, and others. And sure enough, on the Celestial Walker V-Pet, Sealamon can become Skullseedramon, both in the base game, and then KingWhamon. Now sure, Whamon itself isn't here, but that's okay. And which line is this KingWhamon evolution line directly below? Blimpmon, Master Blimpmon, Volcanusmon. Almost like two Digimon that maybe could have been evolving vehicle Digimon in the game, a group next to each other, maybe for the DLC. It's just a theory, a game theory. I might be losing my mind a little bit in this humidity. Obviously then, quickly talking about the Pendulum C, there are other Digimon that I could see being added to the game, though a lot of them don't really have lore relating to Greek and Roman myth, but honestly a bunch of Digimon in Time Stranger don't already, so why does it matter? I think Dullaharmon digivolving off Embalmon, I can definitely see that in the game, especially with like Craniumon and Craniumon plus Embalmon being in the game. Obviously, as I said, I want to see the new Snake and Bird rookie as well as their new evolution lines in the game, but really, Tylomon to Sharkmon, that's an interesting idea for Beat Break. Anyway, moving on. The next one I want to talk about is the most weird outlier for this game, and that is Ukkomon. Ukkomon is not in Time Stranger. There is no 3D model of Ukkomon in the game. What there is a card, the 451st card, even though the base field guide only has 450, and that card is Ukkomon, 451. It's like the 151, the Mew of Time Stranger. It also has an achievement associated with it with the image of Ukkomon in that Steam achievement, and yet it's not in the game. Now, through data mining, we have seen that there actually is basically an almost complete Ukkomon in the data. All its attributes, its moves, etc. It was just missing a 3D model, and I believe Zeke has even made a mod to add it back into the game via its sprite. I and a lot of people theorize in the run-up to the initial Time Stranger DLC wave that maybe when we defeated Parallelmon, the overarching villain of the DLC, it would revert back back to Ukkomon. And that link was a little bit more cemented when we found out that Digimon from the Dark Ocean could become Parallelmon. A lot of adventure stuff going on there, but it never transpired. But if the data is already there in the game, if the card is present, it feels like a tease, does it not? It feels almost odd that it's in there at all. Now, this could just be some weird development shenanigans where like, well, it'd be fun to have Ukkomon because we're planning to release this around 02 the beginning. Translators note they did not release this around the time of 02 the beginning. But given that we have that Ukkomon data in the game, like we know it was a planned Digimon, it was either cut from the base game, the DLC, or they all along hoped to make a bigger DLC after the release of the game, and that's what it was planned for. Anyway, I think of these two, KingWhamon and Ukkomon, Ukkomon is way more likely, I think, to be added to the game, and I almost feel like it's a no-brainer for the expansion style DLC, but we'll see. To finish off, I want to talk about two Digimon that are also technically in the game, but I just have real doubt they're ever going to be added as playable. The first is Blickmon, or Tinmon. This is a weird Digimon originating in Digimon World 1 and then being in Digimon World 2. Blickmon isn't recruitable in Digimon World 1, but apparently is in Digimon World 2. It's this little robot guy, this little tin toy. And in a reference to Digimon World, when you go to the Digifarm, which of course kind of evokes that Digimon World style of training, you can see in the background Blickmon, or Tinmon. They also soft launched its return before that in the BT2 card for Toy Agumon, and obviously it's had some VPET sprites and things like the D-Gather and the D-Spirit. It feels like this Digimon actually could return in something, like I was expecting to see it in Liberator or something like that, but it's a full-on Digimon. It's got the Mon suffix, it evolves from Clockmon and Tankmon and into Boltmon, which I guess makes it an ultimate level. Listen, all I'm saying is that while I doubt this is going to get added to the game as an actual Digimon, if this guy suddenly gets official art and a Digimon reference book listing, I think we all know what's going to happen. And then the last one I want to talk about is endgame spoilers. Obviously in the run-up to the Switch and Switch 2 versions, I'm being much more like reserved about spoilers for Time Stranger, so if you want to dip out now if you've not played the game yet, feel free, but everyone else, stick with me. The last one is Chronomon Robo, or the final boss of Time Stranger. This is technically a form of Chronomon that is not Chronomon Destroy Mode or Chronomon Holy Mode. It's like Chronomon Destroy Mode plus the Giant Slayer. There's a mod out right now which lets you put the final boss version of Chronomon into your party. And the mod's really fun, but I don't know if on a Ludo narrative level this makes a ton of sense. It's like the most objectively like evil version of Chronomon, and it's supposed to be the final boss. While I do love playing as like Master Hand or Demon Jinpachi, maybe it should be said to be special just for the final boss of the base game. But still, if it works in a mod, it could work for Time Stranger itself in the DLC. Nintendo hire this modder, but personally I just don't see it happening. Now obviously, as we talked about Ukkomon earlier, there is a big list of data mined moves from the game featuring a bunch of armor Digimon, Ancient Greymon, Ancient Gurumon, etc. But those weren't Digimon that you could just straight up see in the game playing it normally. You have to dive into the code for that. I do think those Digimon are likely, like it's a good idea to look at that data mined list again in future. Maybe I'll do a whole video speculating which ones I can see happening and which ones I can't, maybe cross-referencing stuff from the VPETs. But for right now, including Terriermon Assistant, I think Ukkomon and KingWhamon are very likely. Blickmon/Tinmon, a little bit less likely. Chronomon Destroy Mode Robo, whatever it's called, very unlikely. But that's it for now. Is there another Digimon you think you've spotted in the base game of Time Stranger that you can't recruit? Something in the background or something like that no one's discovered? Maybe there is. Let me know in the comments down below. There may even be little references in signs or something that you think could work. Just thought it was a fun idea to look at these Digimon that maybe we hadn't considered could be added to the game, but now that Terriermon Assistant has been, the floodgates are a little bit opened. Thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14 and Jeremy Babino, as well as everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and of course my amazing YouTube channel members here on YouTube. You guys are the lifeblood of this channel. I say it all the time and I mean it, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.